Planet Zoo, a game where you can build the wildlife park of your dreams, or in my case, a poultry-based descent into madness. Today's challenge? One species, only chicken. Will it be profitable? Will it even be ethical? And will it make me cry? Probably. First up, we're going to need a name. And what's more fitting than the Cock Colony? Welcome to the Cock Colony Zoo. My goals are simply to make the most profitable and happy zoo with just chickens. Simple, right? Yeah, I wish. It's build time, so let's get started. I want to create a walkthrough enclosure because nothing says luxury chicken enclosures like letting toddlers possibly stomp on the chickens. Woo! I also really hope that the chickens don't mind a little bit of rain because what the heck is this?
Hello, how are you? I am under the water.
This is where our visitors can just come chill and watch the chickens, and hopefully nobody complains about there being a bad view. We also need some basic staff facilities like the quarantine and the vet surgery. I'm also going to put them in a staff room. There's a workshop, a research lab and another staff room so that they will not complain about not having enough places to relax. And with that, let's get our professional complainers employed. We also can't have a cock colony zoo without any cocks. Let's get some of them. I'm going to buy all of the ones that are currently in the animal market. Now, these chickens will be absolute grumpy cluckers if they didn't have anything in their enclosure. So I'm going to fill it. I'm going to give them some water and a feeding board and also this shelter thing, which I'm going to sink into the ground a bit because I personally think it looks better. I started out with the intention of being nice to my chickens because I didn't know who they would become. So the chickens had somewhere to sleep. It was now time to get the paying visitors somewhere to sit and make sure that they were comfy. As the owner of Cock Colony, it's important that we get money in order to keep these cocks alive. And here are the visitors. They're coming in the middle of a snowstorm by the looks of things. So considering it's around -25, I decided to be Santa Claus and give them some heating. And yes, that does count as customer service. See, look how much warmer they're looking already. Considering I'm the brains behind this multi-million-dollar idea, I needed to figure out how to make some money. So we plopped down some of these donation pots to start with. You never know, they might feel so sorry for our poor defenseless chickens that are all lonely in this prison that they might start giving them some nice money. Our money makers are finally ready to come into their enclosure. They get brought in by the vet and the box expands obnoxiously large. And then out pops the little chicken. This is Anthony, our very first Sussex chicken. These chickens are known for not being great in this game. They're not very good at bringing in income, as our guests get bored very easily with them. Like, they're not very appealing, apparently. So when we actually take a look at Anthony's happiness here, he's not actually that happy, especially with his terrain. So when we look into his terrain, he really wants some more soil. He wants lots more short grass, and he wants a bit of sand as well. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We also just take a moment to see how many guests we have in here. We have 3 chickens, guys. 3. Right, so does Anthony love his terrain yet? No. He needs sand. He needs it to be like a desert. Okay, Anthony, you're going to get your sand. Right, we've done that. Let's get an update, see how he's getting on. Does he love it yet? He does! Yes, we've done it. Fabulous. He loves his terrain. The picky little chicken wing. It's not exactly a colony with only 3 chickens, so we're going to add a bunch more to our zoo. And we actually have some appealing ones here, which is quite cool. You can tell they're appealing by the little medals that they have. So far, so good. They are being very deceiving and cute. It gets a lot worse, trust me. They're all good. Health is amazing. I wish that would last. But our visitors are miserable, and that's because they don't have enough education. One thing about this game is that visitors need to learn as much as they can about animals, zoos, environmental disasters, the depressing stuff, and our animals. So we're going to whack a few education boards and chicken information boards into the zoo. Right, let's look at more detail, being nosy parkers, and look at their heat maps. Their happiness is all right overall. Energy's fine. And as you can see, they're hungry, they're thirsty, and they need the toilet. Some need the toilet pretty bad. Considering they're thirsty, that doesn't make sense to me, but okay. I think it's only fair that we put some toilets in before the anxiety wheeze commence. I have given them an information kiosk because when the heavens open, they can buy umbrellas. Money! And I'm also going to put some benches down to give them somewhere to sit. I want chickens everywhere, so it's time to buy some more. I want them literally at everybody's feet. I want no customers complaining that they cannot see a goddamn chicken. I'd like everybody please to give a warm welcome to Martino the chicken. Let's welcome him with warm wings into the cock colony. What is this cheeky little visitor doing standing on my bench that I've just warmly given to him? I shall now follow you for science purposes to make sure you're not doing anything else weird. What is wrong with my visitors? Is this woman okay? Maybe she's having a chicken-based existential crisis. Oh look, here comes Mr. Benchwalker. What's he doing now? Talking to a fence. I hope he's getting some great conversation out of that one. He obviously didn't get a great conversation because he later joined his friends who were suspiciously walking around with scrunched up balls of paper. I wondered what they were going to do with them, and then they tried to throw them in the bin. They missed. I feel like these guys were brought up in squalor. It was time that they left. I got a few more cents out of them for using the toilet first. Come on guys, out you go. Let's go. Chop chop. Make way for the litterers. People who litter in Cock Colony do not belong here. As a raccoon, I'm unbelievably protective over trash. Hey! More bench walkers, and there's people eating there. Oh, for God's sake. Do I need to do a lesson on respect? I think for sanity's sake, it's important that I spend some time with the baby chickens. Everything was getting too crowded. I couldn't fit in the enrichment items, so we needed an extension. Anyway, I put down the drink stall, and look, they're getting it even before I had time to put up the little hut thing. Like, come on guys, give me a chance, man. Even though there were information boards everywhere, the visitors were still not happy with the amount of education they were receiving. So I had to make them a little talk stand so they could be spoken to about chickens. I'm really not sure how much there is to learn about chickens, but I feel like I need to learn more because it's happened. Ariel is dead. And I got an on-the-spot fine of $750. Apparently Susan had a serious injury, so cheers for that, Susan. I'll be charging it to your account. We really need somewhere for these accumulating bodies to rest. So I'm going to build something we're lovingly going to call the Cock Cemetery. This beautiful place is going to be a wall dedicated to all those souls that we have lost. Everybody's going to get their own plaque when they have sadly passed away. It turns out we got some protesters who were complaining about Mabel. So when we checked Mabel out, she was actually incredibly happy. One of the happiest chickens I'd seen. So we just labelled them Karens and carried on paying our respects to our long-lost chickens. We've just reached a massive milestone of 100 cocks in our cock colony. However, we are not making any profit. Our cash flow is tanking, and that's all down to staff. So the dark days of Cock Colony had arrived, where it was time to get rid of some staff. Unfortunately, firing people is part of running a business, so it was time to get rid of this guy. Florentino Pedersen clearly wasn't very happy about this decision, but I had my main goal of running a profitable chicken colony in mind. And with that, I also decided to fire 4 more. What are you going to do? At the end of the day, I needed the money for my wall of death. Still need to figure out how to make more money, as I cannot grieve for Diana. At this point, Linda was making some unwise life choices and trying to inbreed with her brother. I tried to provide some words of wisdom, but by the time I'd got to her, she was already expecting babies. Whoops. From this point on, everything decided to descend into absolute madness. The plague came to Cock Colony. All of our chickens started to get diseased, and we had red alerts popping up left, right and centre. Now, remembering that I made that very wise financial decision to get rid of pretty much all of my staff, we had 1 vet and 1 keeper to deal with everything. That's 134 chickens that are diseased that they then had to deal with. This was a major problem because in Planet Zoo, our staff can only take 1 box of animal at a time. We had 134 chickens at the point where the disease broke out. And every time 1 chicken got better, it would be returned back into the colony where it would then be susceptible to getting the disease again. Do you see my issue? So controversial measures were resorted to and I just boxed them all up. Woo! Now what you can do in this game is send all of them to the trade centre. This means that they're basically in a state of hibernation, so their health can't get worse, they can't breed, and they cannot spread the disease. And even better than that, they are not in our enclosure, which means our good chickens can come back. See, not so stupid now, am I? I was in serious need of more staff, more veterinary surgeries and more quarantines, so I had to take out this huge loan of $50,000. With that I hired loads more vets and some keepers as well. There are 2 parts to getting these chickens better. First, they have to go to the quarantines, and then secondly, they have to then go to the veterinary surgery to get better. And then they're allowed back in our enclosure. I'm sure this is absolutely no shock to anybody, but the good old protesters are back. I mean, to be fair, I'm upset for our chickens as well. But do not worry your little heads too much longer, as Michaela is our first chicken back in the enclosure. Some chickens are on their way to being okay again. However, due to our diseased cock disaster, we do have to update our cock cemetery wall, which of course the protesters are not happy about. Since the chickens are now being cared for and have all been transported, we can now do a mass firing. No one tell the unions. In the entire fiasco of trying to keep my chickens alive, we went into massive debt. We had minus $10,000, so I started taking away some of their enrichment. For example, this sprinkler cost $50 to keep going. I can't afford that. The inspector came again and I got hit with another fine. This time it was $500, but this was becoming a routine at this point. I used the rest of my loan money wisely, I think, and updated our cock cemetery wall after the pandemic we just had. It's growing. I might need a bigger wall. I'm gonna speed this up for you. I was starting to have major regrets about starting the cock cemetery. I didn't realise quite how many deaths we were going to have. R.I.P. Crystal, R.I.P. Melissa, and R.I.P. Gina. Let's add you to our wall. Right, I filled the current wall, so we need an extension, and I've not got that much money to actually go sideways, so let's go up. Yes, this seems good. Perfect. This is glorious. We could fit even more on now. Turns out I'd lost all my money again and couldn't grieve for this one chicken. I feel like I might have my priorities wrong, but I took out another loan anyway. Because why not? At least more chickens now will lay at rest. I am at least trying to make some good financial decisions by selling some chickens, but they don't go for that much money. Look how many I sell here, and I only make $900 odd. Like, that's not going to get me out of the massive debt I'm in. These people looked really lost and confused with life, so I built them a path all the way back down to the start of the park. We went up and over the fence, and I'm not entirely sure I thought this through. This was shown to be true when Jessamy escaped. She was just wandering down the stairs on her way to freedom when this little chappie decided he was going to make a run for it as well. And after Jessamy Jr. nearly got out, well, that was it. I had to change the situation. I was just finishing up the cock cemetery wall when I saw that Frederick, the little baby chicken, had a disease.
Nope.
The trauma was coming back. It was flooding back in droves. I was panicking. This little lad gave me some inspiration. The absolute last thing I wanted to do on this earth was deal with another disease outbreak. So, we all know that we like free-range chickens, yeah? I thought, I'm just going to take away all the barriers. And I might have had a slight breakdown at this point. But I just took them all away. My visitors were in a state of complete feralness because they couldn't get out of the park. So I had to take out another 2 loans in order to get enough money to buy some paths to let them out. But honestly, I just think I'd lost my brain by this point. I had so many diseases, so many debts, so many bankruptcies, and I was just like, fine, go, leave, have fun. And by this point, I feel like it was all worth it because they're so happy. Like, they're just having the time of his life. Even got a reward for reducing crime. Lo and behold, protesters are back. They seem to be angry because they're saying things are stuck in cages. I mean, I beg to differ. These guys are very much not in cages. This is Kit, the dad to many of our baby chickens. I decided to give him a follow around whilst he was living his newfound freedom. If I'm honest, I totally thought these chickens would go a lot further than this, away from their original area, but they just seem to like going up and down this path. Kit is loving being chased by these hens. Look at them absolutely wanting Kit. There are some seriously sad times ahead though. As you can hear, one just died. There he is. It gets a bit dramatic from here on. So he's running around his dead friend, and another one passes away quite soon after. Another one dies out of shot. Kit's freedom nearly ends in the gutter when the box to get the dead friend nearly picks him up as well. These chickens were honestly dropping like flies, and I couldn't understand why until I got thinking. Our keepers, they're the ones that feed them. They come through the gate and feed them that way. You can't have a gate without an enclosure. These chickens weren't getting fed. I'd single-handedly killed the entire colony. Why? Why did I do it? I just thought they'd be happy. I just thought they'd live and thrive off the grass. But no, that's not what happened at all. Kit was doing incredibly well. He even went to go and visit some protesters. And then it happened. He died. Dramatically. Rest in peace, my friend. So I think that pretty much sums up our journey here in Cock Colony. I have failed massively in this challenge. My chickens were not happy and my zoo was not profitable. In the end, I had dead chickens littering the paths. I had protesters. I was in a lot of debt. And our cock cemetery, well, that was full. The chicken zoo may not have been a success, it may not have been ethical, and it definitely was not profitable, but it was deeply chaotic, mildly unhinged, and honestly, I don't think I'd change a thing. If you enjoyed the mess, please hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next video where I'll be playing an entirely different game and probably causing an entirely new problem. Anyway, Respawn Raccoon, out.